Welcome to Unmasking the Truth podcast.
Okay. So does that balance out our voices pretty good? Okay.
Yep. Well, Jerry, here we are.
Yeah.
Once again.
Back again, unmasking the truth.
That's it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of unmasking we need to do. I mean, this is getting crazy now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time here. The next, couple weeks for sure, but maybe the next month.
Yeah.
Maybe on into January.
Yeah.
But it's going to be quite exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. You have an article there that you'd like to share. Why don't we...
Yeah, this was something that was sent to me by a friend of mine, and I've shared it to different people. In fact, you said that you tried to open it up, and it was already, probably within a day, it was
unavailable.
That isn't anything new. I'm sure anybody that's listening out there that's tried to get into some truth has found that things disappear awful fast. But there are some sites out there, and we might share some of those later, that they can still go get some of those archived files.
Yeah.
But this particular one was about a text that was originally from Pam Bondi, who's the former Florida Attorney General. And it just states, please take time to read and forward, which I did, and it seems like that stopped pretty quick after I sent it out. But I'm going to read it here. Okay, in a nutshell, this is going to the Supreme Court. And that's all she's talking about, all this corruption. Where they will rule that the election is invalid due to fraud or mistakes on a countrywide scale. It will go one of two ways. Either they will rule that all the unconstitutional mail-in ballots will be removed and the states ordered to recount without them, or they will simply rule the election is invalid due to mass voter fraud, and at that point it will be sent to the Congress and Senate for a vote. This is where it gets good. The House/Congress votes on who the president will be. It has nothing to do with what party they have that has power. Every state gets one vote. 30 states are held by Republicans and 19 by Democrats. They have to vote down party lines. They have no choice due to the 12th Amendment of the Constitution. And the Senate votes for the vice president, where a similar event will take place. This is the law. This is why the Democrats are so mad at Nancy Pelosi. This will all happen in January. The only way President Trump won't be president is if he concedes the election, and that will never happen. So stop watching the fake news. Don't let your heart be troubled. Live your life knowing this will all work out. President Trump will remain president. I have researched all of this, and it is fact. That's coming from Pam Bondi, who you were telling me earlier is very reliable.
Yes.
So, in other words, it sounds like the Democrats are kind of just stewing in their own mess.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's why they will do just about anything to avert, destroy this election process. They're so power hungry. You know, it's really at a level of demonic, I think. It's not just being greedy. They're becoming exceptionally evil in how they are pursuing, covering up, and lying. It's really frightening to see how a country can get so off track, off morals, as our country has in such a short time, Jerry.
Well, I know there's a lot of people out there that are patriots and everything, and they don't necessarily bend towards Christian views, but there is some talk about this in some prophetical books in the Bible, where God would actually give people over to a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, you could almost see that this is pretty widespread.
Yes.
Getting back to that story again, she got into another fun fact. She called it. They called Gore the president-elect for 37 days in 2000 until the courts ruled against him and declared Bush the winner. And two people that will be part of that decision are none other than new Supreme Court Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett. Why do you think the Democrats tried so hard to keep them from being confirmed? Note added by editor, let's also not forget what Joe Biden did to Justice Thomas 30 years ago during his confirmation hearings. 71 million Trump voters, it's time we really fight back. Please share this with every Trump supporter you know. We need to be as impactful as we can. It's time to mobilize. It's time we put forth the power we truly hold in this country. This working class truly is the heart of America. And what I get out of all of that is that we shouldn't lose heart when we see all these lies being put out there on the news channels. I'm going to say right now, stop listening to CNN. Stop listening to
Fox.
Even Fox, the local network news, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNBC, all of that stuff is just going to feed you wrong stuff. Reuters, forget about it. AP, forget about it.
Yep.
They're all getting fed all these lies, and they're just feeding it out. And the problem is that people are drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yep.
And it's taking them down a destructive path in their own life. We need to get back to normal. They're telling us that that's the new normal. No, that's not really what we want.
Right.
And I can't see anybody that's walking around in fear of everything closing down all the time and the economy just getting destroyed, and historical buildings being destroyed and statues, and that's not a new norm that anybody in their right mind should even think they'd want.
Yeah. We're seeing an evil at a level I think that we've never seen before, but they're doing it right in front of us, and there is like unashamed of what they're doing. Now, I follow somebody on Facebook. He goes by PK Mitchell, and I would say he's one of the most reliable sources that I have, and he'll post sometimes just a 3 or 4 sentence something that's based on either a news article or something from the news. But here's something that he stated, and I didn't know this. It says, this is stunning. Michigan and Pennsylvania Secretary of States gave far-left rock the vote activists access to sensitive data on all voters. Now, those people need to be held accountable for this. So we see this undermining of what's happening, and as she was saying, this diversion, perversion of votes that has taken place. And another thing, how many times when they find missing ballots are they for Trump?
Not
very,
too many.
very rare, isn't it? It's amazing how that this whole thing has been bent, twisted from the very get-go to put Biden in this position, and it's a shame.
Well, I just saw on one of the more believable channels, One America News, it was just yesterday, I believe, about they were talking with this I'd say he was probably about 30 or something. I'm not sure. I might have his age wrong, but he was a high-tech data investigator, and he had been investigating a lot of this fraud that was going on. and I do, I don't have his name, but he was not only willing to just sign affidavits of all the stuff that he was finding, which is he's putting his reputation on the line, and he's probably in a high-paying job, but he checked and saw the widespread abuse using the software Dominion. I think he mentioned that it was so widespread, and he started to look further into it, and he was able to look previous to this election and saw fraud going back to 2008, and he says it could have even gone farther than that. And he knows what he's looking for.
Right.
And boy, if this could be brought to light, there may be some states that might be kind of investigating their governors and
secretaries of states
and all those that made this pandemic come to light after they had their meetings on Zoom or whatever format they used with George Soros.
Yep.
And made their plans for this whole mess that I see more people that are sick and tired of it, and the problem about it is it's a real thing that it's affecting people, and the fact that this virus, the coronavirus, has been tampered with makes it more dangerous. It did come from China, as President Trump told us, and the fake news wanted to push that away. They were saying he was just crazy, but it did come from China.
Yep.
It was an attack on us, and
maybe Biden had something to do with it getting here.
He probably did. His son probably had some dealings there with some Chinese higher ups.
Yeah. It's amazing, Jerry.
Yeah.
If you look at right in the middle of an election, we have this pandemic. We have more mandates. We have more closures. I say this, and I agree with Charlie Kirk. It's time to disobey all orders that violate our natural rights. No more curfews, lockdowns, authoritarian measures. Disobey, resist, defy, open America.
Yeah.
So we have a battle on a couple of fronts here that is being waged on the American people. And one is our voter rights, our vote. I, as a independent, will say I did vote for Trump. I would have had to have been insane to have voted for a liberal Democrat. And I believe anybody else that voted for them has got to have some sort of issue. Morally and mentally, they've been lied to, and they've believed this lie. So we have that, but they started, think about almost a year now with this virus thing, and they've prepared people in their mind, wear a mask. The Democrats have been promoting mask wearing since the 1860s, with the Ku Klux Klan. So they're used to wearing masks, and they're easy to deceive because they're kind of weak-minded anyway. So we have these warfare happening really on two fronts, and it is time that we stop it. We stop the madness, and we hold these people accountable. And I think that there's some that has to be held accountable to the level of treason. And I believe at that point there has to be some sort of judgment that has to fall on those people that have committed this treason.
And unfortunately, there's some of the lawmakers that are being threatened by whoever that's getting to them. And in fact, there's some suspicion on whether Barr has been compromised in some way. Maybe he's threatened, his family's been threatened or whatever.
Yeah.
Because he kind of changed a little bit in the last few days.
And Durham has changed as well.
And so there's still a lot of that going on, and I'm sure they're looking at that. I can't see how they think they're going to get away with any of that type of action.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be investigating that on a pretty high level. But anyway, for the people that just started not disliking Trump or just disliking him because of his character, well, he's changed so much in the last 4 years anyway. And we all have our
Past.
we all have our past, and we all have our mistakes we make now.
Yeah.
You know, if we say we don't, we're just a liar.
Yeah.
And then you become one of them.
Right.
Because that's exactly who they are. They won't even admit when they're wrong.
Right.
Because they can't be wrong.
Right.
And so they've made lie truth.
Yep.
And it isn't.
Yep.
There is a truth. And we have to compare that to that. President Trump, in my mind, has done more to help this country than any president in a long time.
Well, in my lifetime.
Even in our lifetime.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we've got to stand behind, first, we have to stand behind what's truth, what's morally right, what doesn't infringe on our freedoms and our liberties. So we have to take a stand. It's time that we take a stand. And at this time, it's time for us to say goodbye.
Okay, goodbye, Conan.
Goodbye, Jerry. We'll see you next time.
Good night, Chet.
Make sure to listen to Unmasking the Truth podcast, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. at Buzzsprout.com or on Facebook.